I was wrong about Spire Global, ticker symbol SPIR. This video is going to be on Spire Global. And after listening to the earnings call, and after the earnings call came out, or earnings report came out, Spire Global dropped a good 20% plus. And after listening to that call, the only real word I can kind of say is just disappointment. Even after management hyped H2 business ramp up a few months ago, we still missed earnings per share by about 3 cents. And if you look at the stock price, overall, putting money in Spire Global has been dead money for 2 years now, right? I've started recommending it around here, I think around here, January, 7:30, right? And now we're back at 6.96. So overall, Spire Global has been dead money. And even if you look through this earnings call, right, they do some bullish things, or they do have a lot more contracts, right? They were awarded a lot more contracts. A lot of people signed contracts with them, and they will be recognizing a lot of revenue in 2026, as well as the Q4 of 2025. And if you look at Spire Global and some of the reasons why they say that they missed on their earnings is, you will see that I'm too lazy to find it right now, but they do point out that because of the government shutdown, that actually pushed revenues, or like moved it over a few months for those 40 days. And they also cite some legal fees, which is why they actually have a total net cash position of, I think, 98.6 million. I could be off on there. Let's see, I think it was like 98.6 or something. Cash over here, 96.8. And this is also much lower, because they said that in previous earnings call, they forecasted that they would end the year of 2025 with above 100 million, and even after, and as early as after Q3, they're already at 96.8 million, and that is very alarming. Now, again, they do point to the fact that the government will shut down, so that they push recognize revenues over a few months, or a month and a few days. Now, I said this a while back in a video before, but one of the main reasons I chose to invest in Spire Global is because I thought that they were very transparent, and that there was a lot of communication. Back then, I would get a lot of communication, like emails from Benjamin Hackman, which is their head of IR. And there was even a time when they wanted to talk to retail shareholders, and then they actually set up a private video. I could link to that in a different video before. Maybe I'll link it to this one if I can find it. But they asked retail shareholders if we had any questions, or if we wanted any clarifications. We were able to submit our questions, and then they posted a YouTube video that basically went through and answered each one of those questions from top to bottom. And I found that really transparent, and made me really confident in the company, that a company that values their shareholders as much as this company would be something that I would be happy with investing in. But I feel like recently, especially shown in this quarter specifically, there were so many things that they could have communicated with shareholders and just with the public in general that they completely skipped, and they didn't even bother to communicate with us. For example, the delayed revenue recognition due to the government shutdown. That was something that, I mean, yeah, you could say that as a shareholder and as someone that constantly keeps up with the news, you should have probably put the two and two together. But that also warrants some type of communication, right? And even just updating your guidance, saying, oh, well, because of the government shutdown, we can't recognize this amount of, or we expect we can't recognize this amount of revenue. And maybe you could say that, oh, we don't know how long that shutdown would take. Maybe, like, we don't know how long it'll take, so then we can't really update our guidance. But I mean, 20 days into the shutdown, 30 days into the shutdown, you could have said something. You could have said something, right? And I think that I share the same exact sentiment as a lot of the analysts in the earnings call that asked questions as well, because you could kind of even hear in their tone that's like, I invested in this company, and like even management didn't really sound that confident in this earnings call, and there was no updated guidance. Oftentimes when companies have this type of event or something major affects their revenue and their income, they'll tell shareholders and they'll update it. They'll update their guidance, and in this case they didn't do that. And it just rubs people the wrong way when there's no guidance, there's no communication between. And even now in the earnings, right, in the when they were prompted, when they were asked, why are we already under $100 million when you said that you expected us to end the year above $100 million of cash? They pointed to legal fees, they pointed to again the government shutdown, but those were things that you could have updated us on before the actual earnings report, before the actual earnings call, right? We wouldn't have been blindsided as investors in this company. And it just rubs people the wrong way. That's my opinion. Now, I guess pivoting to something a little bit more bullish, it's that when you look at their guidance, they do have, in my opinion, it is a pretty strong guidance. And they do say that after they get, I think after they talked about like their Germany manufacturing center, I guess, is about to be up and running. They'll be able to manufacture and ship out satellites much faster. And they also do state that they do have a higher demand, right? They do state that there are a lot of tailwinds, a lot of catalysts. They cited an increased defense budget for Europe and the EU. Specifically, I think they mentioned Germany, but they also mentioned that there are companies that they have contracts with currently that are expanding their contract. For example, NOAA, they're also adding more features to that NOAA contract type of thing. So like they have the contract that they started with before, right? And then now they're hiring Spire Global for a auxiliary task as well, or like another task, a subtask, I guess, as well. So those things are bullish, but also it just when analysts ask them questions about like specifically why like we're already under $100 million, it almost seemed like the analysts caught them off guard. And I don't understand how you could be caught off guard by this question. This is a glaring issue because throughout your previous press conferences, you mentioned at least I think at least like the past 2 times the management spoke, they did say that they would end above $100 million of cash, right? And it's just this lack of communication. There's all these question marks, and like there a lot of times they're also referencing legal fees, which how many one-time legal fees do we have? Like I don't understand why it's so hard to do the accounting or the legal. It's a merger and acquisition type thing, right? You're just selling a portion of the business. I don't know. I'm not a professional, right? I'm just a retail shareholder, and I don't know that. So I don't know, right? I don't know. As you can obviously tell based off of my performance of this dead cash, right? But yeah, Spire Global has basically just been dead money. And like, yeah, you could say there was this pop, right? And then you could say that the Kepler deal, that fallout was also like not under their control, but handling the communication and handling all those things afterwards is definitely within their control, right? It's definitely something that they could have done. And that's the one thing that I really did not like about this. Also, I guess as I said before, the way that management was kind of flustered and they were kind of like caught off guard when analysts asked them questions, and these were really like this is I feel like when you see these numbers, this is the first thing this is the first answer, the first question you should prepare for, right? This and why you missed EBITDA. But then in both cases, it seemed like management wasn't ready for it. So overall, I in my position specifically, I am a cautious hold on this. I just feel like there's too many tailwinds that are coming up, right? They're still ramping up. And I guess this is also kind of an open letter to management. Like, please communicate more, right? Please update us. You're not silenced throughout the entire year. You can say things, right? I remember back in 2023, we would often, maybe like every time there was a new contract, or every time, like maybe even like monthly or like bi-weekly, Benjamin Hackman would email us like a type of an update on the company, an update on like the contracts that they're seeing and those things, right? And even if you go to the Spire Global YouTube channel, that also kind of, they stopped posting for a long time, and that also, like, what happened to that? I would like to know what happened. So communication aside, I just feel like there's so many catalysts, right? They do say that they're ramping up. They say that they're pushing revenues, and they also say that they're getting more and more customers. And we did see this kind of blitz of just a crap ton of contracts that came within the past like 2 weeks. But I just feel that even though I'm very cautious right now, I do see so many catalysts and so many tailwinds coming up, right? The Germany manufacturing center coming up and starting to run, right? You have overall the entire like global I guess environment in terms of defense, in terms of security, right? You do see I would say it's a pilot program on the cybersecurity cybersecurity contract that they have with Deloitte. That's kind of a new type of contract that I haven't seen them do before. Other type of, I guess, catalysts that are coming up that I do see are very, very bullish is, again, Robinhood introducing those the weather prediction market. I think that will increase the TAM of Spire Global, and I feel like Spire Global's overall product has been kind of proved to be at least usable and at least attractive enough for companies to both renew their contracts, to expand their contracts, and to keep hiring Spire Global for other contracts as well, right? Specifically with NOAA, specifically with all these other companies that are on the top of my head, right? It's probably in the earnings call, but whatever. So overall, I guess too long didn't watch, too long didn't read. I'm a very cautious hold on Spire Global, ticker symbol SPIR. And again, I've emphasized this in every single one of my videos. This is a super high conviction play, right? It's I think probably now sub $300 million market cap. They have $96 million of cash on hand, so I'm not really too worried about it going bankrupt right now, right? But and also they did say that they would reach cash flow break even by 2026. Whether or not they'll reach that's another thing, because right now I don't know how much I can trust management, right? And that's the biggest thing, because there has been no communication, there has been no clear communication between the shareholders and management. So that's it. That's my video on Spire Global, ticker symbol SPIR, and an update on this company that I'm holding very, very cautiously. Peace.